This video is about the time I spent the night in the Supertree Park in Singapore, only to get kicked out by security. So there was this one time I had a layover in Singapore. We arrived around 10 p.m. and I only had 14 hours until my flight the next day. I didn't want to purchase a hotel because it was a little too expensive, but I also didn't want to stay cramped up in the airport for that long. So I decided to go see the city. I got a Metro pass and I headed toward downtown, and while I was on the Metro, I saw a very interesting law in Singapore. It is illegal to chew gum. Yes, gum. You can be fined if you are caught chewing gum in Singapore. Thankfully, I wasn't chewing any gum. Anyway, I headed toward downtown, and if you Google search Singapore, there's an iconic hotel that you'll see. It's called the Marina Bay Sands. Now, it's way too expensive to spend the night there, but there is an option to take an elevator to the top floor and get the lookout over the city. However, when I got there, it was already closed.
The thing to get into the top of the hotel closes at 11, and it's 10:59 right now. Don't know if I'm gonna make it into the top.
So I had to find something else to do. So I tried going to a nearby mall. It was also closed. Restaurants were closed. Everything in the city was practically shut down. But there's another iconic place in Singapore if you Google search it, and that is this Supertree Park.
Alright, if any of you guys have seen Avatar before, this is kind of what it's reminding me of. Oh.
So there's all these trees lit up, and I was the only one in there, so I was like, you know what? This would not be a bad place to spend the night.
I have a lot of time until my flight leaves, so I might just spend the night here.
So I got my blow-up pillow, propped it up against my backpack, laid back on a bench, and I had this epic view falling asleep that night. But about 5 minutes in, this music starts playing really loud and all the trees start flashing different colors.
What in the world is going on? They just started changing colors all of a sudden. Whoa.
I had no clue what it was at first. It was super startling, but I found out they were like doing this sort of recital for a performance they were doing the next day. Eventually, I was able to fall asleep, but around 2 a.m., a security guard came and woke me up. He was like, hey, you can't stay here. I'm kicking you out, so I had to get out of the park.
Turns out I can't spend the night in the Supertree Park.
So it's a little after 2 a.m. I'm walking around the riverside in Singapore, no clue where I'm gonna sleep that night.
It's 2:08 a.m. Trying to take up my time until I can go do stuff in the morning. Probably just gonna stay up the whole night unless I find like a bench down here that I can sleep on. Getting tired. Kind of want something to eat, but I haven't seen a McDonald's yet, and I have a feeling it's the only thing open.
And on top of that, it starts to rain. And not just rain, it starts to pour.
It's raining now, so I found a little spot under an overhang to hopefully take a nap. It is super humid. All my clothes are wet.
The mall actually opened around like 4:30, 5 a.m. So I slipped into there and I found a bench inside the mall to fall asleep on.
It's way better than trying to sleep outside, and I found this nice chair here.
But soon enough, around 6 a.m., a security guard came and woke me up and said, hey, you can't sleep in the mall.
I was woken up this morning by a security guard shaking me saying, hey, you can't sleep in the mall.
Turns out you cannot sleep anywhere in Singapore. It is frowned upon, just like chewing gum. So I left the mall and I still wanted to go on top of the Marina Bay Sands Hotel. And so I waited until it opened at 9, and then I was the first to get a ticket to the top. Epic views over the city. It was totally worth it. I highly recommend it if you're in Singapore. After seeing that view from the hotel, I headed back to the airport, and that is the story about the time I tried falling asleep in Singapore and got kicked out not by one, but by 2 security guards. See you in the next one.